Suddenly, she felt the shock. Then he hugged his head and screamed bitterly. It looks very painful. You see, you're worried. Call the photographer. What is wrong with you? They're all running around, and you keep calling the photographer. Photographer. I am so worried about asking you why. Then the photographer couldn't hear you. The vision gradually darkened and blackened. The photographer fell face to the ground. 1 month later, with the arrival of the Nebula Man. Tribal and Black Jail, Kwang Wee Kai World to develop Prosperity Hoa. In the city has arranged 5 courts of 10,000 ghosts, love spirit battle. There are other defensive tricks. Teens of St. Lan Academy. To start learning the advanced method of photography. On the top of the eucalyptus tree, separately observed laughing. Everything seems to be getting better. He said that Kai is quite silver and in DTO at all. So he flew away again. Then it's lost in the cloud. Special house of the owner. IP to Van is soaking. She was worried about me and stopped taking care of me. It's been a month. The photographer is still awake. She broke down and called the photographer. Suddenly, there's a call outside. It seems like the photographer is conscious. The fish told you to get over there. I stand up and tell the truth. Great, I'll be right over. Then she quickly changed her clothes. I still lay face down on the bed. Don't tell us to stay in the same position for a month. God's spirit never ceases to impart its power. Hand photographer. I see signs of waking up. I'm glad you shed tears. You said you could feel it. The power is coming back in your body. Try putting a little more soul power in. That is, stop sending your soul into the moment. The photographer is still in his mind. I see the book in front. It is not the time to love the letter. The book does not love Lin Kai letter. Let time and space flow backwards. Take me back to 13. But when we got back there, it was gone. This book is the source of everything. How can you disappear like that? What's going on? Maybe where we go back isn't the timeline. At first, it was a space. Other times there was no book. Gradually wake up. Lying in bed trying to open her eyes, complaining of a headache. Suddenly, I saw the fish next to me. She was worried. She seemed to want to cry. Tears filled the photographer's heart. Suddenly, his eyes fell on the grapefruit in front of him. The ghost hurriedly raised his head full of awkwardness. Make the child stop startled. Please ask the photographer when you wake up. He nods his head. He was so happy that he hugged him. Your heart is too good. She's crying and shivering. Then the photographer patted his back and comforted him. Suddenly, the door of the room opened. The snow is standing outside. Look at the scene. The snow makes you dumb and unable to speak. The photographer also looked at his feet, as if caught in battle. My eyes are wide open trying to explain. Suddenly, he laughed softly and ran. Come next to him and get excited. 3 people hugging each other. You don't have to explain that you are alive. These words moved him. Hugging 2 women and complaining. We are still living in this world. You're still here. This world is still here. It's not a dream. It makes us all stand outside. I looked at it with wonder. 6 wandering around the village blind my eyes to photography. It's ridiculous. I'm laughing at the end of this. Compared to life and death, it's just a small thing. At this time, she adjusted her clothes. Ask me how long I've been in a coma. It's been over a month. Make the photographer shoot people. A moment later, the birds on the tree chirped. Chips with squirrels jumping up and down. They all gathered outside. 6 hurry to visit the photographer. How is your body? And he laughed and said, don't worry, soul check is still normal. In my mind, 2 fashion does not love reishi letter, still, it's just a headache. I don't really know how comatose I am. We're wasting everyone's time. Now I can only wait for the Dragon's Gate to open. I asked if you have a next plan. The photographer said there wasn't much time left. We have to go back and say goodbye to our people. You're in a hurry to remind your body that you're not well. No hurry. Or let me send someone to invite their uncle here. Take a breath and just say it. I turned to look at you with kind eyes and thank you. Suddenly, the photographer was stunned when the back of the body appears. You said your son is finally awake. If you dare to let my daughter be a young widow. See how I teach you. That's why I turned around to remind you. The photographer laughed softly and said thank you to the music. I care that my son-in-law is okay. To make a fool of people. He asked your son why he was so good. Maybe you passed out once, so you can clear your brain. Haha, hearing this makes us want to run out of words. I was a little nervous and reminded. You are now the hope of the Holy Spirit. To the Long Ken area, you have to take care of yourself. Although it's a little sad. But the young bird doesn't leave the nest. You can't grow up forever. The photographer laughed at the music. Don't worry, we're all laughing and having fun. That is, until the sky gets dark. He looked at the moon and told me the truth. Ask the cardboard, Sao skin has not come yet. To make people dirty. That's right, he said. I also got the news, maybe hiding behind the Kier tree. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion in the distance. It startled me to stand up. Ask the enemy to attack. Seriously, let's go see. Say it and launch. The photographer was amazed. Now the government has a great protection. There are so many fake legends. There are still people who dare to sneak Sao. He's got 2 wings. And then hurtle off to the source of the tornado in front of you. All the people said it was the government. Make this movement. What kind of god is it? In the smoke, a shadow appeared. And the bearded old man is the bed bug. Opposite, he was a man with a burning anger. I haven't seen you in a long time. Haha, love boss appears to be honest. I can't believe it's hidden so deep, and you still find it. Ask yourself how many years it has been. I can't wait to love the owner again. I don't know if there's anything to teach. Love the owner laughed. This place is not very welcome. We have to be good or bad. I am also the one who came out of the city of Kwangwi. Then he looked coldly at the dress. Let him be oppressed. The power of the Kai Force law is crushing him. Immediately speak up. You have betrayed the city. Driven away a long time ago. Hear that love boss laughed out loud, haha. Lie. Either I have betrayed you, or you have betrayed me. He glared at me and said, I don't search anymore. You should be grateful. The owner's loving hand clasped tight. When the tiger hero wore it, he asked, Then what are you doing here? I laughed and said there is something I want here. As long as you deliver, the old thing between us is over. If not, I immediately brought Kwangwi City to the landslide sky. Yep, Right away, ask what you want. He grinned for a moment and said, You know and ask. Just delivered love reishi jelly seal. I love that. It's all over. If not, don't blame me for the murder. At this moment, the photographer looked up and thought he loved the owner. He's here for a ghost. I can't believe that someone who owns 8 ghosts. As hell as love owner also remember forever. What is it anyway? Yip replied, I don't understand what you are talking about. Please make love to the dark face. He was so angry that he burst out of anger. It makes you look obnoxious. And he started emitting a bright gas. To try to hold on. The regent came. I can see that the clothes are not going to last. Put your hands to help. IP, where's the light source? Surprise the owner. He came flying in front of the leopard-clad leopard. I love the stupid man who asked you why. The photographer is also serious about showing his fear. What son of a bitch? The owner said, if it wasn't you. The light is already in my pocket. You are always in my way. I can only destroy you. Photographer replied, it's not like we've never fought before. If you can kill me, then come. He said he was angry. I love the owner who looks around. At this time, the photographer's companions were also surrounded. The 4 sides of the fire. AI also cooperates to help the photographer. Makes the energy burst brightly. Like a nuclear bomb exploding in the sky. I asked him how it was, even though it was dark. The law is strong and unstoppable. Let's borrow this. But the photographer was stunned. When in the smoke. Love the owner turned into love spirit and soared up. He burst out a pillar of power soaring upward. Screamed a ferocious voice. See that? They also quickly turned into tigers. Holler. Then launch a blinding attack. Love the owner over there also emits the power and rushed. Right now, it's a magic ball of 2 sources of power encircling each other. 6 hands are 6 stirred slashing weapons. Make everyone. No one can get close to him. The body is indeed strong. It's been a while since his power has increased. I'm just afraid that the first soul has condensed like that. You've got to pull the trigger. I said he's racing out the back. The angel drew the sword. A luminous Lao source shining straight down. Immediately cuts straight down. I love the owner very much. Of course, there is evil. When the lightning strikes down, love is only ready to defend. He held out his hand and summoned his weapon. Face support. I'm calling everyone out here. And then the lightning goes down. The owner smashed 2 lead balls together. Form a protective barrier against the power of the regent. The cyclone column of 2 forces creates tremendous intensity. Swept away everything around. The owner shouted for an hour. And held up his lead to stop the lightning. But surprisingly, it just crumbled. Soon after, his weapons were destroyed. In front of the lightning, grains of rice crashing down from the sky creates a bright, rumbling explosion. Everything birds in the sea of fire 6 exclaimed. The angel's sword is awesome. He's dead. Why do you think this is a way to kill animals? But the photographer here dropped his face and yelled no. That lightning didn't hit him. Hearing that made Cho Trach full of surprise. Suddenly, the owner appeared behind him. When Park feels something and turns his head. Eat a 1,000-pound punch. and the blood comes out and goes straight down. Quick Love Master immediately throw blow to beat the photographer's friends. They also face serious injury. I panicked, screaming at my daughter. The photographer turned around and yelled, "Fuck him so fast." In a split second, the owner rushed to the palace. He was so angry that he told me to come. Loving Master holds on hand sword. Dare to beat my daughter. He then took the form of a tiger and shouted at the sword. But when you're about to hit it down, suddenly, he loves the owner in front of him and disappears. 1 tick. It made IP Tong confused to ask what the distortion was. Photographer looks to say, disappear in the air. This is how he avoided lightning. Silence for a few seconds, and then I thought about how he attacked Zack. She screamed carefully. Surprise Loving Master appears behind. Splashed the sword on the IP Kun. This time, the angel is still alive. To pull the sword down. Quickly thwarted a fatal blow. The owner is about to leave. It made him cold and tell him to react quickly. I could almost kill you. Loving Master grabs the neck of the aphid in the hand. This made the photographer and IP wear worry. It is obnoxious. Panicked, he rushed to call his father. Love the boss, laughing, haha. Your law is true. Very strong. If I fight, I may not be able to do anything to you. You have many weaknesses. Everyone here is your weakness. Except you. We can kill anyone else here at will. Still, the angel drew his sword and told him to let him go. I can let you go. From now on, our river water does not violate the well water. If you dare to hurt anyone here, I will absolutely not ignore you. Is it necessary to chase to the Long Coot area? I also have to destroy you. That made the owner stare. Are you threatening me? Immediately tightened the neck of the cardboard, plus his hegemonic resources. It makes deep glared his eyes and he opened his mouth thinking. My power is gone. The mayor called out to the owner. The owner laughed and said what you just said. Where to chase? Makes the photographer's whole body shiver and say shit. Told me not to care about me. Kill him, then take your own energy. He fell in love with the owner, which surprised him a little. But he's got 6 cheaters, so it's easy. To summarize the arm of the aphid. And then, with contempt, let out a breath. He immediately severed the arm of Ra. It's spilling blood. The dead man screamed for his father. Tears don't stop pouring down. She's a Buddhist monk. But suddenly, I was told not to go up. Watching the blood of the eucalyptus fall, along with the painful face, it makes IP silent. He came forward and said he loved the owner. If not, don't dream today. Step out of the city of Kwong Wei. Even if he risks his life, he will kill you. Love the master on his knees, haha. From childhood to old age. The result is still this pile of rejections. How do you want to keep me in your closet? I'm about to condense my soul. In my eyes, your oppression. It's just like a bunch of stinky ants screaming. You can't do anything to me. Hearing that makes IP wear angry, swear, hateful. Photographer, the angel holds the sword in his hand. Here, I am breathing the last breath of my life. I looked at the dead man crying. Think all my life, the most indebted person is you. Then look at the sword of the photographer in your hand. And the owner's lover. He shouted, Li is still standing there. Do not rush to kill him. Ignore me. It's as fast as you can say. I also have fun under the sun. Love the owner back. The tiger is the son of the tiger. This can still be said. But that, you thought you could beat me. I'm a little impatient. Give me the spirit stone. If not, it's not just you. Everyone here must die now. Then Love the owner immediately cut off the arm of the leaf. That spilled blood. It causes IPs in pain through the bone marrow, but he still didn't scream. And he likes to laugh. It wasn't painful enough to scream. Then take a look. He tightened his neck. Then emits a powerful burst of gas. Laughing as hard as I can say. Don't dream. His eyes were full of cold. Make photographer here a spicy gritted teeth. Then suddenly, the cloak spoke. I give you. I accept that I will give you the spirit stone. Let go first. He was wearing a hat that surprised the owner. This is a warning not to. The owner laughed. Ha, agree. It didn't get this far a little sooner. He asked IP to wear the spirit and throw it over here. But he seriously asked me to release him first. But the owner laughed and said, even though you are old, you are old. We can kill the eucalyptus first and steal from your hand. If you destroy it, I will kill your niece. Even if I don't negotiate with you. You don't have time anymore. IP wears a look at IP's bleeding arm. It hurts me to throw my soul over him and tell him to take it away. I love you, I can tell you with cold eyes. Yip said in anger. Now you can release the apricot. He nodded and said yes. But turning to look at the leaf in the hand, said, I will return his body to you. He said he put energy in his hands. Statement that your father and your son may be reunited under the throne. I saw that, and I panicked. But everything is unstoppable. The sharp hand of the master punctured the chest of the blood-spattered eucalyptus. Make him go right back to the golden spring. And that's how it goes. The veins are all severed. He turned to the thou minority. Call the photographer with the last word. Take care of the children instead. Surprise, on the cardboard Han ice popped out. Attached to the arm of the master. It amazes him. He said it wasn't okay. He tried to pull out his hand, but he couldn't. Very quickly, Han tape LAN transmitted to him. Make the owner stupid. Standing still, the clam is still screaming. Leave cardboard instant burst. Source welding bright ice boom. That people have to put their hands behind them. It hurts me to call my father. In front of her is the light. The father's self-deprecation glowed. Make the memory of before rush back. When he was a child, he stood by and called Venni. Do you know the city we live in? It is the only home of mankind. The snow has protected this place for generations. Countless ancestors have sacrificed their blood. It was their blood that brought glory. For the snow in the world. Remember, we are not the rulers of the city. It's the supervisor. We should be proud that our ancestors died for us. If one day the city is in trouble, I will not hesitate to lay down my life. So he went back to the coffin team. Cause death and tears to flow. Hand full of pain called father. The dress is also standing right now. Who choked on the call of Nie? People also turned their eyes to the owner. But in that self-deprecation, he cannot destroy the love of God. He appeared growling at the damn ant. You dare to hurt me before you die." Then he laughed, "Ha ha ha. When I wear it, I cry for my son." The method of self-preservation of the snow world, used even the soul is destroyed. Even if they recover, the body cannot regenerate. It is a silent sign that the owner is dead. 6 Adventure, a spicy obnoxious. Immediately shouted, the evil man immediately turned to Love Spirit. "I want to cut off the rest of your hands." Everyone is ready to take revenge for the owner. They all died with him. But before he could do anything, he was forced to stand still. Everyone is motionless, stunned when you can't move. Then turn your eyes. Everyone should be surprised. Before the photographer's picture now. He's burning up right now. With the lightning from the angel, still the sword. He held the sword in his hand and was angry. The images with the previous leaf rushed back. And then he glowed and screamed. "You've pissed me off." He's now bursting with incredible energy. Make love to the owner surprised. "I wonder what magic you used. It can be so strong." And his hands clenched tight. And then he screamed, "You deserve to die." Straight to the photographer is Tiger Report Mink. But he's still standing in a way that he dodges. But the gas just hit the photographer. Was dissolved. He clenched his teeth. And swung down. The angel still drew the sword. With this move hit, it makes the owner panic. "What's the twist in your mouth? I thought this was not in my plans." He just used gas, that we couldn't move as hard as we could. Hand pulled out the weapon, said to stop. "Hurry up and raise the alarm so you can break it." But right now, the photographer's brilliant, powerful slash struck down. Like a fatal lightning. It's causing everyone nearby to be affected. How to make love to the owner can be avoided. Immediately jerk the pangolin and shout 7 bars. He was knocked to the ground. The smoke is thick. There's a kiss deep in the ground. Make a big hole to scrub the flames. But the photographer looked down. Akka realized he's not dead yet. Love to return to its original form. They ran away to save their lives. I can see that you can ignore it. For the man who murdered his father-in-law immediately glared at the electric hauling down. "Tell me where to run." The owner continued to eat. The slash of the sword. Ghost jerk TT, like to fly, the color distortion, can dodge. It's only possible in the power source to shout 7 bars. Then the owner's body disappeared. Only his armor fell to the ground. Suddenly loved the owner from the flying dust. "Who goes lamb?" The photographer yelled out what was wrong, and he lit up the flames. "You screamed death." He kept throwing the slash down. But lightning only hits the armor. So keep going with the catapult. Flying away, causing blood to rush to the brain. Screaming out of love for the owner. "Even if you hide to the horizon, I will definitely find you. They will destroy you forever without being superhuman." Then the gas on the photographer was collected. He's standing in the air. The face seemed to have no blood. White dishy. He stood motionless. Keep the space in the moonlight shining. And soon this place was in ruins. Everyone is sad and sad. The photographer is now flying in the sky, like looking for something. He holds in his hand the goggles to capture the soul of the eucalyptus. But all that's left is gas. The soul of the owner is gone. He was stunned, talking like a previous life. Death is kneeling here. Next to the sword of the eucalyptus, there are tears. At this time, the photographer came to say, "I'm sorry." She immediately ran to hug him and burst into tears. "The Lord blames me. He used the angel of mercy, but I couldn't stop him. It makes death cry louder." Retreat pulls her out. "Seriously, listen to me. She uses the magic of the family. His soul is gone. But if there's a way to bring people back to life, I will definitely not give up." I was surprised to ask why. "There is actually a way to dress silly." The photographer didn't say much. "Put your hand on your chest and time will tell. As long as we enter the dragon boat world, reach a certain level, there will be a way. Death is persistent. I'm going to go to the long zone. You will be stronger. Then resurrected father. Retreat adds revenge loves owner." And just like that, everyone's looking down. The next day, the funeral took place. Photographer in the moody rain thought it was ridiculous. "I think you are in control of your own destiny and that of others. Turns out I'm just a pawn in the game." Right now, inside the owner. The dress is sitting sadly in the room. Look at the letters that he wrote. That tears don't stop falling. Someone came to his door right now, dressed and wiped the corners of his eyes. Then death pulled the door in. "I was surprised to call you." The two of you sit and stare at each other. He wears up his voice. "My father is dead, and I am old. You have to take good care of yourself later. I heard that the tears of death continue to fall." She called her family. IP's father said, "My father, your father died protecting the City of Light. There is no disgrace to your ancestors. Look at the seal of the leaf. I'm proud of my son." And then the air was filled with pain. "I have to ask you if you're going to leave." She nods her head in confirmation. IP Ware said, "I have spent very little time with you all my life. The Buddha is gone today. The city is here for me to protect. If one day the family can't do it anymore, the City of Light must be given to you." IPZ firmly said yes. Here's a bored photographer standing at the rain table. When I saw that, I went to cover him. He just walked with him. I used to admire IP and so on. She has a father who is the owner. As long as she likes dad, will help her perform. There's no one to make her do things she doesn't want to do. I feel she's so happy. I can't understand my suffering. Stop talking and sigh. I will understand later. The snow wind. Because the city had to pay so much. The mother of premature death. Father is clearly right next door, but still alone. But she's resilient. I don't want to stop worrying with my father. When I was a child, my personality was strong. Everything compares to her, but still can't match. She is a submissive person. Then she turned to call stop. She is like death. They're all very honest people. The two of you can stay in the same place. I also feel secure. The photographer is now looking at the distance. From now on, we will have to leave the country. Step onto a road covered in thorns. No matter how far ahead. We'll lean forward together. The woman also agreed to nod. You two just walk in the rain fast. A month later, I saluted my parents. The same goes for the 6 adventurers here. After saying goodbye to relatives, people also start the journey. Go to the world. They quickly cross the mountains. Over the volcano finally set foot. At the 9th stratigraphic gravity. Someone told me to look out. Everyone knows the last time. The photographer looked at the people around him. There's a lot of people here, almost all of them. He thought he didn't love the owner. You'd better hide. If you let me see you, I will absolutely not let you summon the armor. Suddenly, Min came to say that it was not okay. I know what you want to do. But I have to tell you, even if you are my disciple, your family will not help you either. If you slaughter each other, the enemy has the right to beat you to death. If someone wants to kill you, we will also act. He was silent and asked if he could ask the master. If the enemy kills our parents, we can't do anything. I replied, of course, it is possible, but if you take revenge now, become more. They lost their lives. Just wait until you get to the Dragon Kingdom. Until you have cultivated a certain realm. To resolve personal grievances. I can't stop you then either. I wonder what this word means. Unless he loves the master so much. The old man loved his master and could not stop himself. The disciples had carefully understood the master's instructions. Remember, small things will ruin the big thing. Temporarily set aside the favor. The future will be bigger. After listening, the photographer agreed. Turn to call the photographer. It's not too late to take revenge. Turn your back and tell me to go. Previously called the reminder sword. You and your lover are in the same boat. You have to be careful. Please rest assured the owner of the sword. I won't let him do me any harm. Once we get a chance, we kill him. You don't have to object to that. You can't deal with him now. Don't protect yourself well first. The sword says, I understand. The photographer said that. Let us ask the others first. He looked at the dead man standing in front of him. Deep thoughts of death. Death is a resilient girl. Her previous life. He is the one who leads us out of the Holy Land. She also taught me not to give up. Go to call death. I believe she can escape her sadness. I will tell you after we get to the land. You have to take good care of yourself. IPZ nodded in agreement and laughed softly. And then I hugged her softly. They say they've only been together for a short time. We had to separate. But for everyone's future, we have to work harder. She also hugged him tightly and called out his name. When two people are hugging each other, they can't help but separate. A stream as it soars through the sky. There's a tornado coming and it's astonishing. Look smart now. Stumbling in bewilderment, no questions asked. This is a good speaker. The way out of the world has moved to near idolatry. It's time we started. The photographer and his friends agreed. Vietnam turned around to say, Regalia. Let's meet again in that world. Photographer bow. Remember to take good care of yourself. Then the Southern Guard and Chu Trong Tuan and Master. Emitting gas. It's flaring up and flying into a tornado in the sky. The Master also said that when he saw it. We have to go too. The exit is about to move in.